afternoon, and I'm so happy to be able to talk to you and your wonderful company, your wonderful work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so nice to speak to you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. It's so lovely and hot in Vienna today. So, when the sun shines, I'm happy. Pardon?
Yeah. It's exactly the same in London. Very hot and very nice. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, just introduce yourselves to Harriet and Cara.
Yeah, I'm Cara, and this is Harriet.
I'm Harriet Williams.
Yeah, we're both professional opera singers and specialise in some of the bigger repertoire, big Verdi and Wagner singing. So that's our background, basically.
And you are friends as well, not just colleagues.
Very good friends.
We actually met. We were doing a show in London, and we met. We were in different casts for one show, and so we met. And then Cara said, "Come for dinner," and I went. And then we became friends about 5 years ago.
And that was singing Wagner as well.
Wagner,
we keep sort of bumping into each other whilst singing Wagner. In different places.
Oh, great. And you both started your careers in England.
That's right. Yeah. So I came down to London from Scotland when I was 17 to study at Guildhall School of Music. And it was incredible, the classes that we had. And actually, when I left Guildhall, I went to the Paris Conservatoire for my final year, and I specialised in early music at the time. And so that was kind of my journey. And then I took a 10-year gap when I had my family. Had my 2 daughters, Luna and Dita, and then just started to get back into the profession, singing completely different repertoire. I'm sort of singing the things that I was kind of born. I feel that I'm born to sing, and very easy, beautiful music, such as the Wagner. How about you, Harriet?
I really wanted to act from the age of 7. So I was just going for drama school, and then I played the piano and did my grade 8 and stuff as a teenager. But then at drama school, a teacher heard me and said, "Oh, would you like some lessons?" And I was, "Are you interested in classical music?" And I said, "Okay, yep." So I started having lessons with her, and then she said, "You can try to go to the Guildhall, do a post diploma vocal training, but you have to basically, because you're going from really, you don't have that much repertoire, so it'd be quite a big thing to join at that level." So eventually, so after 2 years after leaving drama school, I'd done all sorts of different opera courses and was going for my acting, doing some acting. Then I got into the Guildhall, and then that was it.
And it was quite funny because we both had the same teacher, but we weren't there at the same time.
Really?
You don't remember me. You would have definitely remembered me. I wore massive platforms and kind of had long red hair, and you would have remembered.
I think I was just leaving when Cara was just coming in, so we were definitely had
but we can share stories about Joanna Peters, who's a wonderful, renowned teacher.
Okay. Well, first of all, I believe we come on each other's paths at the right time. So maybe that was just not the right time, but now you have.
Exactly. It's wonderful. We have so much in common. We both have our families, teenage children, and it's wonderful. It's lovely to have a best friend.
Yeah, of course, with the same interests and so on. But wonderful that you talk about your teacher, because I actually talk about teachers also with artists, because I feel the teachers are so valuable in your careers. And I've seen now during the pandemic also a lot of students that I photographed here from the music university, how much the teachers and the mentors meant to them in this time, and how they really not only just did singing lessons or music lessons on Zoom, but really got encouragement from the teachers. So tell me about this lovely teacher of yours.
Well, Joanna is actually passed away because many years ago, but we've gone on to have many other wonderful old school teachers, you know, as I would say, that promote big, proper voices, but well supported, you know. And mine is currently Jenny Karen, who I go to every now and again. She's kind of the age where she hasn't got the technology, so our support has been mostly by telephone, which is wonderful, and she is incredibly supportive and really helped through this kind of pandemic and very encouraging. I don't know about you.
Well, no, I mean, I have different teachers. I have a teacher in Madrid. I was with a teacher for a long time. Then I had to leave her because I went to the Guildhall. Then I went back to her because she was very good. She was sort of my inspiration to sing, and then she was very good with my languages and music. She was a brilliant teacher. Eventually, she passed away, and actually, I have her grand piano, and I'm always, when I'm playing, always thinking of her because she was so passionate about music. You would go to her house, you would spend hours, she would give you lunch, she would be there just, you know, she said, it's just time, you know, and she was amazing. Without her, I don't, you know, probably never have, I might have gone into musicals or something, you know, so she was a great inspiration. And then now I have this teacher in Madrid who I go to sometimes, and I've had a teacher in Paris, and I have a couple of people in London that I'll go to if I feel I need to, but I generally go to.
It's interesting that you say, you know, about the support during lockdown, and for us, we were the support of Harriet, and also, you know, how we decided to give a performance with the London Opera Company was I filmed a video like many other musicians did and put it on social media, on Instagram, of me singing an aria. And a couple of my colleagues and friends liked it. And one comment was from Harriet and from another guy called Brian Smith-Williams. He said, you know, we must get together and sing. And I said, absolutely. Harriet said, absolutely. And so we made a plan to get together and just sing through Tristan and Isolde, because we have the three parts basically ready and ready to go. And it's something that we'd sang previously with other companies, and just decided to do that. And then out of that rehearsal, we got together in a sort of socially distanced, in a very safe way at Brian's studio, which is a massive, massive space. With a pianist, and just went through things, and then we just decided together as a collective of singers to form a company and to give our first performance as the company, and the first performance was Tristan and Isolde.
Wonderful.
Last October, so October 2020, and we kind of cast it amongst our friends and colleagues who we'd worked with in this repertoire, who we knew had lost international acclaimed singers who'd lost all their work and were happy to come and do it, and just to sing again because we haven't sang for 6 months, and also we had a wonderful response from people who wanted to come and buy tickets for it, who'd been kind of starved of this kind of performance and music for, you know, was it about a year, wasn't it, by the time in October came. So that was an incredible thing, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to have a platform for these singers who are so used to performing all around the world, and to continue to sing in some safe way, and also to you know, to allow an audience to enjoy music again, live music again, which, you know, it's been such a long time since we had been able to do that, and the response from the audience was incredible. Actually, the first notes that were played and sang, we could see, even through a fully masked audience in front of us, that it was incredible. But we could see tears, you know, at the beginning of it, because it was live music again, and that was a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I mean, overwhelming for some people, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, because it meant so much to them just to be able to be there at the performance, and a lot of them Wagner lovers anyway, and so yeah.
And they came and they sat with us and they listened and went on that journey, 5-hour journey with us. And it was, you know, it was a wonderful thing. It was kind of a close up as well, because the way we had a chamber version of Tristan and Isolde, obviously, because we couldn't have like a whole orchestra. It just wouldn't have been possible in the current circumstance. So the kind of layout was very intimate in some ways, and in German, but we had a translation at the side, the subtitles, and it was a really, really special moment last October, which kind of encouraged us to pursue the next Wagner opera.
Wow.
Why not? We went for it.
But isn't it amazing, all these things that happen, you know, that happened during lockdown, where I see here, even in Vienna, how musicians, you know, collaborated, and new things started, a new way of doing things started, you know. I mean, I visited my first living room concert, where it was a pianist and a violinist, and we were about, I think, 10 people sitting. And what a great experience, because it was so intimate, like you say, you know, it was so there, and the connection was so wonderful, and it was just a different way of listening to music. And yeah, what you're doing now is actually amazing, because you're bringing also now all these musicians together, and also for the audience, it will be a different experience than this, you know, going to an opera house and having that environment, hearing the opera, but now you're doing it in this way, in a more intimate way.
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, I must say, our musicians that we used, our singers and instrumentalists, they, for Tristan, they gave their services for free, because they just wanted to do it for the beauty of art.
Incredible.
And they knew, you know, we'd all work together, and we're all in the same situation, and we just wanted to bring our, you know, what we do, and have a platform and share it with, you know, this wonderful, wonderful audience, and that did make it a really special moment. And because of that, because the singers were giving their services for free, you know, many rehearsals, we were very well prepared going into the performance. We were able to just charge a very small amount for tickets. So you were seeing like world-class singers for really a discounted price in an intimate situation, singing wonderful repertoire of Wagner. So that was, it was a great thing that we had brought to the audience. I think the tickets were £30 only for this 5-hour opera, and that kind of just only paid for the venue, and just, you know, little costs like that. The singers did that performance for free, which was incredible.
But you know, I think in the long run, I think, you know, a lot of artists talk about this, doing it for free or not getting paid or for these performances. But I think if you think of it this way, it's really not for free, because what you've started now is going to, in the long run, be such a great project, you know, or this company that you started. And of course, maybe now there wasn't a lot of money in exchange, but the richness of this experience, also for not just for the audience, but also probably for you as singers, as artists, to to have an audience also so close and also in like you say, the tears and the emotions, and you could sense that. So I think in the long run, these things that the artists are doing will have such a great benefit for them and also for the audiences, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, even though, you know, obviously they gave the services for free, it's almost like we were facilitating the ability for everyone to get together, to come together to make music. And then you see this, you know, as it's been growing, then we're able to pay, you know. But that was and everyone knows that if there are people that come and they're positive, we're always going to use them. You know, we're going to want to work with the same people that we like.
Yes.
You know, so that attitude will go through into everything.
Absolutely. And most singers actually are just wonderful, wonderful people and great to work with. And, you know, so with the success of Tristan, we managed to, it was reviewed in Opera magazine and and it was also supported, there was a review from the Wagner Society of London, and they've been an incredible support to us. And advertised our just very recent performance we did, Di Valcura, in London, and they were very helpful in advertising it and came along to support us and really enjoyed this performance as well, which was also socially distanced. It was a bigger venue this time. And we had a different chamber ensemble, which was a fantastic reduction of the Wagner score, with you know, very exciting instruments involved, bringing out the sort of core elements of Di Valcura that we needed to kind of boost us and which was fantastic, wasn't it? And also after the performance, the Wagner Society. Well, with the Tristan, we managed to get a sponsor, so that was pay for the bigger venue, and pay the singers a little bit of money, you know, and so that was fantastic. And this time, we're still looking for sponsorship, and the Wagner Society have said that they're going to help us this time,
which is amazing.
And there's 2 or 3 people who came and said that they would like to sponsor us in some way, because they've loved what they've heard. And also Di Valcura was a fantastic opportunity for, I think, pretty much all of the singers that we used are practitioners in Wagner, you know, an incredible group of singers, but we were all debuting our roles. So I was Brunhilde for the first time. I've covered it many a times. I've done little bits at the Royal Opera House, and I covered there, and covered many different smaller companies as well, like Loughborough Festival Opera, and so it was a really fantastic opportunity for myself to sing this role in a safe space. And with all that preparation that I've done over the years, it was just ready, and it was fantastic for me, as well as all our other singers. Harriet was singing Fricka.
Yeah, it's my debut as Fricka, so that was great. And a lot of the sort of Valkyries are sort of younger, maybe a couple of younger Wagner singers on their Wagner journey.
Yes.
So levels of Wagner journeys going.
And our Wotan was absolutely fantastic. That was his debut in the role. I think it's pretty much everyone's debut. Simon Thorpe was our Wotan. He was wonderful. And our Sieglinde was absolutely fantastic. Gwyneth Anran, and she was this was her debut as well, so it was a really wonderful opportunity for us as singers, as well as, you know, to bring this production forward. It was a concert version, but it was semi-staged, and we kind of were quite innovative with our staging of it. We used it was a wonderful church right in the centre of London, and we managed to use various parts of furniture and to bring. So it's not just a kind of stand sing. It was a great kind of piece that really excited the audience. I think at the end. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah. And Harriet, do you also have sort of this background, you say, in the Wagner?
Well, yes, I mean, the first Wagner role I sang was Die erste Knappe in Parsifal, a Royal Opera. And then I have done one of the Valkyries for L'Ombre twice, Valtrauta.
Yeah.
And then I sang Flosshilde in the Ring Cycle at Covent Garden. So that was great. So yeah, I have quite a bit. And then I sang Brangäna for L'Ombre as well from Tristan. So yeah, I've done quite a bit of Wagner.
Yes.
Not completely always Wagner, but it's gradually, it's like, okay, you're building up, you go, can I go to the next stage? What's the next stage? And I think when you're singing with Wagner singers, you start to learn about how the voice can do all sorts of things you couldn't imagine before. So it expands through the Wagner, through the singing of it. You start to go, oh, I can now find a place where I can really get it cutting over the orchestra, which is important. I mean, obviously at L'Ombre they have the pit underneath the stage, which is fantastic. So you can do the finer, smaller, quieter singing or whatever, obviously like Bayreuth. But other places, obviously Covent Garden is, and that's quite, to get that cutting through, being the sort of the low end, being Mezzo, that's something you have to learn how to get that kind of get squillo going. And so it's a long journey, Wagner, for most people.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying now, talking about the staging, I went to an opera a week or so ago that was done in a garden. And basically there was a sofa that they bought at our equivalent of Gumtree. And it was a sofa and I think a little carpet on the grass, and that was it. That was the staging, and it was amazing how they did it. And before, the conductor also spoke a little bit about the opera and so on. So these small, intimate, productions for me is wonderful. I think it's a wonderful way to also educate.
Well, that's what we loved about, our Die Walküre with the London Opera Company, which was just performed in July. That actually, when we looked at our audience, I was quite proud that it was quite a wide variety of ages. So we had our young teenagers who were kind of, and we also gave a discount. So our tickets were only £30, but if you were a student, you could have it for £15 only. And seeing a 5-hour opera for £15 with world-class singers is pretty good. Yeah. But we wanted to give that opportunity so that we could have a fantastic sort of younger audience who really, some of them were seeing Wagner for the first time, and that was wonderful to have that, as well as our seasoned opera goers and Wagnerian experts that we were so privileged and lucky to have in our incredible audience. And that was a great thing to see. And I think that's maybe something that, I don't know, it's come out of our current situation where the young people, I'm so proud of them for what they've had to go through, all our teenagers, all the school, all the university that they've missed. And I think with that age group, they are kind of open to most things, and they enjoy going to see high art. It's inspiring, and it was lovely to have them as part of the audience. That was one of my wants, and it worked out because we'd give this discount in the audience, which was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was lovely to see.
I've talked to also artists during the lockdown time, over the world. And one of the things that I really feel strongly about is the education of art in the schools. And I almost think that from the artists, it needs to also come this education, like you say now, giving the opportunity to students to come to the opera and educate them as well, you know, because we live in a society where the schools are doing less and less and less for the arts, and you know, for music education. And I think it's these things now that is so important, to give children the exposure so that they start also developing the love for music and for the opera, you know.
I mean, I was in, you know, my situation with my daughters. I'm very lucky that one of my daughters went to the Brit School, which is an arts school. It's a free school, so you get in on your talent. If you have to do an audition, and you specialise in a subject. She specialised in music, but it was popular music. But they do a wide range of teaching of music. And to have her, it was from year 10, so when she was, I think, 14 or 15, she auditioned, right up to her leaving school. And it's like performance, and that's a really unique place, the Brit School, and it's just a wonderful organisation where young people can be themselves and are really steeped in the arts. And so there are schools in this country that are doing these wonderful things that are free as well, and thank goodness for them. But yeah, I think you're right when it comes to it's such a shame that the government feel the need to have taken a lot of money away from music. And in some schools, there was one school that we actually did a concert at. We quite often we do sort of free concerts for underprivileged schools, and we did this concert at a school in London. Do you remember? It was Di Valcura, and they don't have a music department. They don't have, so the headmaster who asked us to come, because he and some of these children would never ever have seen anything like us, you know, they heard these voices up. And I think that's such a loss, because there must be, I come from a working class background. My parents didn't really know anything about classical music. And I've fallen into this somehow, you know, and I'm so lucky to, I feel that I've begun a journey, and it's the right one for me. But and as a working class person who wouldn't, before I came to Guildhall, so before I was 17, I'd never seen any opera in my life. I'd never gone to a concert of classical music, and so if I can do it and become a practitioner in this high art, I think that there must be many young kids out there who can do it, you know. And as part of the London Opera Company, we'd like to explore that possibility of education, bringing schools in, especially underprivileged schools.
That would be wonderful, because you have also the ability to do that, because it's your project and you can decide, you know, who to reach out to. And I think this would be wonderful. If you do this type of thing, please let me know, because I would really like to support you in that and talk to you about, you know, these projects that you do. I think this is my wish, is really that we can reach more children, and not just to make artists of them, but to make to create audiences that appreciate art. And I think for children's development, you know, to hear music and to hear different types of music and dancing, and to just have the exposure to that is also for their development very important, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because they say it, you know, on an intellectual level, the development of the brain is much greater, is better with if they have music as well. So it's, you know, it's removing something that's so important for their development of their, you know, intellect and everything, you know.
And young people are so creative. And I mean, when we went to that school in London, they were volunteering to come up and be on stage, and they were really into the story of Valkura, because it's kind of got everything that they would want: swords and fighting and murder, and it's kind of, the kids can really grip onto and really think, oh wow, this is. And it comes through, of course, in amazing Wagner writing. You can hear that in the music as well. And I think kids, more than anyone else, feel, they're kind of emotionally engaged with that kind of thing. So it's wonderful.
A young composer told me that he went to a school for over 3 days, and he worked with a group of young children. I can't remember the age, but they had no music background, not at all. And he did some composing workshops with them. And he said it is amazing what these children came up with. So I think it comes naturally, and they don't have inhibitions yet, for trying and doing and so on. But very interesting research that's been done in Germany. I can't quote the university who did this because I cannot remember, but not just the musicians who play the music, but also the audience who hear this music. The brain definitely reacts to it. So it's not just the musicians whose brains are affected or stimulated through it. It's also the audience. So this is why it's important that children, I think, should listen and hear, this type of music and any type of art, really. Yeah. But Harriet, do you come from a musical family?
No, I mean, my great grandfather in Australia we used to sing songs and tour around, and had a pianist, and he would accompany us, and he would go around New South Wales singing classical songs. I mean, that great grandfather actually, and but my father was just always playing. It was always music playing in the house. He
that's exactly the same as me as well.
A lot of opera
on vinyl.
On vinyl.
Yeah,
so I
types of music as well. Just
Maria Callas. I started to listen to Maria Callas, and then sort of he had this kind. He loved Verdi for a while, and then but we all types of music, and and my mother had they were always singing, and we were always encouraged to. They bought me a piano, and I thought, I love this, and then they bought me a better piano, and so it was always music was seen as a really important thing, and there was always much more. On the TV there would be sort of more opera, more just generally. And in school, everyone played the recorder. The recorder was that you just.
It's so important.
It's so important.
Bring back
people loved it, but it was just brilliant. And the whole school, and they had I won the school music cup because I was just music and drama at my school. Which is.
I know. Well, there was a lot of music actually when we were growing up, and I remember there was one point where it was so lovely that I didn't even know what I was doing. I thought it was a punishment, but I'd gone in and I had to sing this Scottish song in front of this funny-looking man who was adjudicating, and there was a few of us. I was too young to know what I was doing, and I sang. I remember forgetting the words, and then the teacher being annoyed with me and giving me the first line, and then singing it. And at the end, I won that competition. And I remember, I didn't tell my mum that or anything. And I came back that I was doing it because I didn't really know. And I came back and I announced to my dad, I just won this. And he picked me up and hurled me around the room. Sort of like, oh, wow. So that's my first sort of memory of sort of singing and bringing the music. But as you said, my dad was like, he just had many records and played music constantly in the house, and he did have Maria Callas actually as well.
Maria Callas went deep down into our souls.
I know, it's like, we must do this. But she was incredible, wasn't she? We love Callas.
So do you, on a lighter note, do you have a pre-performance rituals? What do you do before a performance? Harriet, what do you do?
Well, I try to kind of almost sometimes if I don't want to know who's going to be anyone important. I don't want to know if they're in the audience. I don't want it to change anything. I want to be able to give the performance that we rehearsed. So, you know, if somebody says, I don't want to hear anything. I just want to keep it kind of bubble. And there's a certain, you know, I'll sort of eat maybe a sandwich that would never look like a very dryish kind of sandwich. And I would just make sure I'm hydrated. And you know, as for superstitions, not really, but sort of just I want to kind of go through the process. And I think once you've got the makeup on, then you just want to be focused. That's all I can, without any, you know, don't read any news, don't do anything to knock you off your kind of center of just, you know, go.
And you don't talk to people, and do you feel distracted when people start talking to you and so on?
I don't mind if it's just about the show or, you know, but I don't want to hear anything about some drama or anything. I just want I just want
I'll remember that the next time.
You know, obviously you're sharing and just but you know, just be in that sort of and just to go and obviously you always have your score by you're kind of going that's this, and then just I must remember that not to do that again, and you know, things like that, just last you know, last minute things.
And you, Cara?
Well, the same, you know, it's kind of obviously warming up your voice is important, isn't it? And so kind of, you know, and when to do that, you know, especially when you're singing such a big role like Brunhilde, you know, or Isolde, which is even bigger, is how much to warm up, how much. But I think what happens is when a role like that is in your body and in your person, and you've been singing it over the past few weeks, you don't need to warm up so much. You know, you just need to test. So I kind of test the bottom of the voice and make sure that was completely warmed up. And I know from my wonderful singing teacher, Jenny Cannon, that she says that if you warm up the bottom of your voice, your top will be there. You know, you don't need to go and explore it. But I'll just test to see if it's there. Everything's there. And then just completely immersing yourself in the character, what she's saying, what you want to get across, because it's your interpretation of that character, and obviously, you know, you have to have a little note to yourself, right, that's a tricky bit, okay, I have to be, you know, careful here. And then maybe to go through the score, just having a look at the music, but really more to think of the character and what she's saying and the different emotions that you're about to have, and kind of to be quiet and rest, just, you know, at least half an hour before you're going on. Of course, as ladies and maybe some gentlemen as well, we like to make ourselves beautiful as well for and make sure our dress is done up at the back and things like that. You know, you could
I've been on stage and actually my skirt, when I was singing Carmen once, my skirt started coming under and I had to keep holding it on. I think that can have some wardrobe malfunctions.
So to make sure like that you've got a full length mirror so you can see that, you know, your dress is on properly, it's on the right way, and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's quite a sort of nerve-wracking but wonderful feeling that just before you go on. It's kind of a special time, really, isn't it? You're kind of focused on the performance. But yes,
I think one of the things is when you're standing in the wings, and one of the things I found is when you hear the orchestra and you know, you're obviously thinking, right, okay, and you're sort of waiting for your music, and it's like as soon as I'm on stage, I hear my music, then I'm okay. But you know, it's sort of like, am I going to get everything? You know, you might have a moment like that, and you go, yes. And then you're on, and it's,
well, that's, you know, because you're completely into the character.
Yeah, but also, but you kind of, it's that sort of,
you kind of lose yourself into the character, and then you forget about the music.
Then you're just in the staging, and you know, and it
flows, and it goes so quickly. You know, like 5 hours. You think, oh wow, that's it. This is our last note. You know, and it's incredible. And if it goes like that, I think that's a good sign as well. You know, that you've given a bit of yourself, which is what you want to do. To make sure that you do that.
Yeah. So, what is now next for the company? What are you planning next?
We've got an idea to do to bring Siegfried to London, and this but we've also got sort of a plan for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So continue with the ring cycle, of course,
Yeah.
to go to
Yeah.
Denmark,
Yeah.
and then also maybe after the ring cycle to go back to Tristan, because one of the we have lovely people who came and support us, and one of the many emails that we have, is that they want to see it again. They want, well, we have to see it again.
Yeah.
And so we kind of promised that we would bring Tristan and Isolde back, but I would probably wait until Siegfried next year, get to the ring in 2024, and then Tristan in 2025. So that is our little plan.
Wonderful. Well, I hope we can speak before the next one again, so you can update me and that we can speak about it a little bit more and, explain what you're doing and where it will happen and so on. So any projects that you want, just let me know and then we have a little chat about it.
That's wonderful. It's been lovely chatting.
Yeah, it's been
so
nice.
nice.
Lovely chatting to you too. And I lived in Windsor for a few years, so I know London. And yeah.
Well, do come and visit us when you're
I will definitely. No, I will definitely. And you do the same when you come to Vienna. And I think this company of yours should start touring as well, so that we could see this.
We love,
yes,
we would love that. Once things get back to normal,
things get easier.
We would love to do that. We'd love to do that, and it'd be quite easy to do it because we're a chamber orchestration, and I think it would be interesting to see if we can tour it.
That would be great. But have a lovely afternoon, and it was so lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But we will speak again, I'm sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you, Cara. Thank you, Harriet. Bye. Bye.